such a wild Anglophile. She lived over there. She spent some time at Cambridge. She loves your whole family. Just extraordinary.
Great.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. It's the one thing that we disagree about.
and
I'm reading this book going, get him, Harry!
And
I don't mean
here we are.
that. I don't mean that.
That's
I don't
fine,
mean that
no,
at all.
it's
I don't
fine.
mean that at all.
Hey everybody, this is your daily dose of all things royal. Welcome back, my gorgeous good-looking friends. You really have to give it up to South Park for their attention to detail. It literally is on a different level. Just when you think we've found them all, here are 10 additional Easter eggs that have been found in this episode. You don't want to miss the Easter egg sitting at number 1. Trust me. Number 10. Making fun of Good Morning America. Many of us are aware that Harry went on a media tour here in the United States, in which Harry participated in a series of carefully crafted, well-rehearsed interviews with journalists who didn't challenge him. Good Morning America runs on a station that is part of the Disney ABC group. Hence the reason why South Park decided to take a poke.
Thanks for having us on the show. It's so awesome to be here. It's great. So let me start with you, Sam. You've lived a life with the royal family. You've had everything handed to you, but you say your life has been hard, and now you've written all about it in your new book, Where?
If anyone could have pulled off an interview to push back on Harry, that would be George Stephanopoulos. Even though he does work for this media company, he has a very impressive track record of being able to give a proper interview and asking the tough questions. Something that I think South Park would agree as they wrote this segment.
So you hate journalists. That's right. And now you wrote a book that reports on the lives of the royal family. Right. So you're a journalist.
Number 9. A familiar face. As the dumb prince and his stupid wife are introduced in the recreation of the Walk of Shame, South Park subtly changes the color scheme from mourners who are wearing all black to then shifting over to a moment in time at the Jubilee where people were wearing color. These are the same guests that were featured in the royal pudding.
There's the Queen of Canada in attendance, of course. I believe she just quaffed. The Abbey's shaking violently as explosions abound.
So coming back to this current episode, who does this person remind you of that wears a lot of pinks and berries and purples and is the godmother to Prince William? Even though not confirmed, that does resemble Lady Susan Hussey. Now, do I believe that South Park would include this detail? Absolutely. This character was also in the royal pudding near Prince William when Havoc was unleashing. As well as I don't think South Park would have missed out on the whole hubbub around the Fugazi Nagazi calling Lady Susan Hussey racist. I do believe that this is her. With regards to who these two females are, no idea. Some speculate that that's Eugenie and Beatrice. Number 8. Inspiration from the Beatles. If you're familiar with this memoir, Spare, Harry makes no excuses for his drug use, especially using psychedelic. The gibberish that is told throughout the book does make the reader feel the author is on an acid trip. Background of this album, when it was made, describes these two idiots to a T, in which they said that the sessions to create this album were characterized by some biographers as aimless and unfocused. According to Wikipedia, it said that the Stereo Review wrote a scathing critique in which he derided the group's farcical, stagnant, helpless bellowing and confused musical ideas. The author, Rex Reed, said that exchanging drugs for meditation as their subject matter had left the Beatles totally divorced from reality. And he especially ridiculed I Am the Walrus on the LP he deemed a platter of phony, pretentious, overcooked tripe. Yes, my friends, this summarizes the Harkles in a nutshell. South Park nails these two clowns with this analogy. Number 7. The Canadian royal family. Even though we all know that this is a parody, the inspiration for these characters do come from real-life people from the royal family. There has been quite a bit of debate that has left room for much speculation on who's who seen here in this lineup. Even though not confirmed by South Park, I have drawn my own conclusion based off a process of elimination and critical thinking, and here were my findings. From left to right, we have Queen Camilla, self-explanatory. Next to her is Prince Edward, considering he is the youngest. Next to him is Prince Andrew. Then we have King Charles, clearly because he's wearing the white hat. Next to King Charles is Prince William. And then next to Prince William is Catherine, the Princess of Wales. Self-explanatory. Interesting that they left Princess Anne out. I'm going to give the creators the benefit of the doubt because they're American, so they may not know who's all in the family, as well as not knowing the protocol, which then leads me to the lineup. Obviously, when we look at this, we question, why is King Charles not walking next to Queen Camilla? Well, that's because South Park wants you to focus on the Earl of Halifax, which we'll later talk about in a second, which would be Prince Edward. He actually has a role in this episode over King Charles. And this is just a tactic to keep this character relevant and familiar to you. So when he does come up for his brief shining moment, then you make the connection that he is part of the core family. Number 6, the Earl of Halifax shining moment.
Oh, and I believe the Earl of Halifax has just farted on the prince's wife's face. The prince seems to have taken offense to this. Oh, and this is bad.
Now, as you just seen on the roster, it makes complete sense that this would be, by process of elimination, the Earl of Wessex, aka the Earl of Halifax. This is probably the funniest part of all of this because it shows that the biggest troll really are the creators of South Park. They certainly paid attention to everything that was going on at this time. Do you guys see how genius this is? This was Sophie's revenge. Remember, Sophie took one for the team. She had to ride in a car to every event with this woman. Can you imagine? So of course, yes, the Earl of Halifax, aka the Earl of Wessex, aka Sophie's husband, farted on the stupid wife's face. Of course. Number 5, the seating arrangements. So when you look at the seating arrangements, understand that everything that South Park does is on purpose. So you may say to yourself, well, why did they put Prince William in the second row? Well, guys, South Park is an alternate universe, and we all know that the spare in his alternate universe would prefer to have his brother in the second row. This is not an insult to Prince William. It definitely is looking at the perspective that we are in this alternate universe of the dumb prince and his stupid wife's self-importance. Also, if you notice, the nod and acknowledgement of Prince Andrew not being with the family. He has now all of a sudden disappeared. Number 4, role reversal. It's no secret that the time the stupid wife had spent in the royal family was really all an act. As soon as she got the ring on her finger and that ink dried, the mask dropped and she was out, back to California. The photos on the wall behind them actually tell that story. When the stupid wife was dating and getting to the place where she was about to walk down the aisle, as well as shortly after it, you notice these really uncomfortable stares of looking lovingly and attentively, but creepy, clearly as you can see in this picture on the left. Now with the South Park picture, the dynamics has shifted. Please tell me, how many of you have seen the stupid wife look at her dumb husband the way that she used to look at him back in the day when she was pretending to be a royal? You don't. Now it's the dumb prince who is looking at his stupid wife as if she's some kind of prize. I ask the question, who's the trapped one now? Number 3, who would you rather hang out with? South Park pokes a little fun at a couple who don't know how to have fun. And in this reference, they decide to bring in the nemesis. They chose to feature the Barclays Center and the Brooklyn Nets to jog everybody's memory that Beyonce and Jay-Z were hanging out with Catherine and William at a basketball game having fun. This expression on Jay-Z's face says it all. Number 2, hockey players included. How many have noticed that there are hockey players embedded all throughout the church of this funeral? On the surface, it does seem quite superficial, considering that Canada is known for hockey, and as a stereotype, if you're an athlete, most likely you're a hockey player. As you can see here, number 57 is staring straight at you. So who is number 57? That would be Canadian David Perron, who was a 2018-2019 Stanley Cup champion. So as the procession continues, another number pops up, and that would be number 8 to your right. So now who is number 8? That would be another Canadian, Alexander Ovechkin. Apparently he is on track to challenge Wayne Gretzky's record. But this is not the cool part. The number 8 pops up frequently in the congregation. So obviously there's a deeper meaning here that South Park wants us to figure out. There's also another 8 seen here by where the seating is. Then there's this one all the way down here. So what does this really mean? Well, so if you notice and move back a little bit, you'll notice that there are 2 people with jerseys on, one with a 7 and one with a 2 close together. So what does this all mean? Well, if you look at the number 8 and the frequency as it's pervasive throughout the funeral, and then you look at the number 7 and 2 and you add them together, that's a 9. What do you get? 9 and 8. And when did the Queen pass away? She passed on September 8th. That would be 9/8. While though there is no confirmation, it is plausible. And finally, number 1, South Park has been trolling Meghan Markle hard. South Park is very consistent when they carry over their storylines with these family threads. Most notable are the characters that are included in these royal events. So as you've seen, the same guests have repeated themselves from the royal pudding. What was not included in the royal pudding was these hockey players. Now you think to yourself, well, why wouldn't they include these hockey players considering that they're talking about Canada? Well, maybe that's because they needed a certain duchess to inspire them to incorporate them. It's a well-known documented fact that Harry's wife enjoyed the company of a particular hockey player. Michael Del Zotto is a Canadian hockey player who played for the Rangers. He played for the Philadelphia Flyers, the Vancouver Canucks, and currently today he now plays for the San Diego Gulls, wearing the jersey number 5. Well, looky, what do we have here? Is that a number 5 tucked away in the back there? Why, yes it is. Hot damn, they even got the goatee right. South Park nailed it, hands down. What do you think? Were you surprised by some of these? Let me know your thoughts below.
Favorite smell?
Favorite smell? My wife.
Oh my god, seriously, get some help. Ugh. Anyhow, I will be back soon with more content, but until then, please be safe, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.
I was such a fraud.